Okay, so I'm just doing a video on some battery life saving tips on Pixel 6 Pro, which I thought some people might appreciate because there's a lot of controversy over the battery on this phone. I keep seeing a lot of people saying they're getting like loads of battery life left with 120 Hertz on, 5G on, basically everything ramped up, and by end of the day they're getting 50% battery left. And they're using it all day and stuff. I find it hard to believe, I'm sorry, but I do. Like most people, they're getting, with all that stuff on, they're getting 6 hours, 6 to 6.5 hours. With all these settings that I've changed, I'm getting 9 to 9.5 hours. One of them being taking that 120 Hertz off, because that just drains your phone. Also 5G. So these are some other things that I've done as well. So if you go to apps, all your apps here, I don't know why the phone's shaking here, it's not my hand. You've got, these are all your apps. So if you click on YouTube, for instance, then go to mobile data and Wi-Fi. Make sure the background data is off. On all your apps, this will be on. If you go through your apps and turn all this off, it won't stop notifications or anything like that. Not important ones anyway, or whatever you deem is more important than others. I noticed in the battery stats on Accu Battery, YouTube was quite a drainer. And I think mainly that was because it was running in the background quite a lot on YouTube Premium, and the notification tray, when I drag that down, it still had paused videos or videos that I needed to resume in this section here, so they needed swiping away. Yeah, YouTube was hogging a lot of battery in the background. Another thing is network and internet. Then it was Sims, I think. This here allow 2G. I turned that off. Use 2G mobile connections for emergency calls. 2G is always turned on. I turned that off. Don't know if it helped or not, but like I say, I'm getting 9 to 9.5 hours screen on time a day now, so that's off. Preferred network type, I ditched 5G and just left it on 4G. 5G is not great where I live anyway, so it's pointless. It makes no difference to me. So that's some things. Then you've got, let's have a look. Display. Make sure screen timeout's on 15 seconds, the lowest. Smooth display, turn it off unless you want, really smooth scrolling within apps. But personally for me, it don't bother me having that off. That's a big battery drainer, is that. That's a massive battery drainer, is that smooth display. I make sure that's off. It's stock Android, so it's fast anyway. I don't really see much. Well, you can see a bit of a difference, but to save a couple of hours battery life, I'd rather it be off. Okay, so I've gone through restricting the apps. There was another thing that I noticed in the battery that was draining it, and it was something called Android Intelligence. And what I realised that was a setting where the screen stays on when you look at it. I think it was called screen attention. I'm not sure where that is, so I'll just search for it. Screen attention, yeah. There it is. Make sure that's off. Yeah, it showed us Android intelligence on the battery, and when I turned that off, it disappeared from the battery stats. It was draining like 7% of the battery or something. And what that is obviously when you're looking at your phone, it keeps the screen on. It is handy, so you don't have to keep touching the screen to keep the screen on, but that was draining the battery, was that quite a bit. So I turned that off, that screen attention. So yeah, that's basically doing all that, going through all my apps, turning off the background data. I've got adaptive battery on, but I don't think that does much me personally. Because when I changed all these settings, that's when I noticed increased battery life. I went from 6 hours to 9 to 9.5 hours screen on time, and I didn't have to worry about the battery. Also, when you're indoors, try keep your screen at around about there, about 30% or below. There's no need for it to be on too high anyway. You know, it melts your eyes otherwise. I came from S21 Ultra to this. It was an Exynos Ultra. I just found the performance of that really poor and sluggish with the Exynos processors compared to the Snapdragon. Camera quality were worse as well. Camera on this is absolutely amazing. It's an amazing phone, and this is before it's had plenty of updates yet. I'm sure it's been out a month, and I've managed to get 9 to 9.5 hours of screen on time just by changing all these settings already. So they push a few more updates out. This battery could turn into an absolute beast. But like I say, when there's people telling me that they've got 120 Hertz on, 5G on, screen ramped up, and they're using the phone all day, playing games, camera, going to bed with 50%. I just do not believe that. I don't. I find that very, very hard to believe. So, unless they've got more battery life than others, I don't know, but that's another thing I should say as well. Don't use digital well-being as an indicator of how much battery you're using, because it's not accurate. Best thing to do is buy Accu battery. Accu Battery Pro. It's not expensive, and this gives you best stats. I mean, what have we got here? Look, screen on time, 1 hour and 50 minutes, 8%. So 8% of my battery, 1 hour and 50 minutes, which is brilliant. That's with turning all these settings off. So it's using 624 milliamp in 1 hour 49, 1 hour 50. So the phone's got 5,000 milliamp. It also tells you the actual capacity for your battery as well. Tells you which apps. So if you use this as an indicator, you can see all the apps that are draining your battery. And I had YouTube up really high. That Android intelligence was really high until I turned that screen attention off. And everything here now looks reasonable. You'd expect the Pixel launch to be taken up quite a bit, because that's the OS, isn't it? Then you've got the health section here. Estimated capacity 5,101 milliamp. Design capacity 5,003. So that's basing it on how many charges I've done. So yeah, I started using this. It's just a lot more accurate. There's a lot more statistics. It's a lot easier to go by. I'm not a fan of the Google battery stats at all. I just find it confusing. Okay. So yeah, just a few tips there, and that should give you 9 to 9.5 hours battery life. Hope it works for some people, and carry on enjoying the phone, because for me, this is the smartphone of the year. It's amazing. The design of it's amazing. It's got a nice screen. Camera's just immense. And battery carries on like this. Spot on for me. Main things on a phone: decent battery, decent camera, and then you're laughing, really. All bells and whistles that you get on Samsungs, they're alright, but they can be a hindrance. You just pick this up and you just go. You don't have to worry about it. And this is before it's had plenty of updates yet. So I reckon by the time they've gone through a fair few months of security patches, this phone's going to be an absolute beast.